The golds get a large trophy. They also get $250 in gift certificate and champagne and chocolates. Well, maybe. There's only 2 left, but... Okay, so the first step is going to Every Person Counts, designing for the invisible 1.5 billion to Smart Design for outstanding health service design for underserved communities. Oops.
More than 1.5 billion people in the developing world lack the formal identification necessary to access essential services such as basic healthcare, education, financing, and aid distribution. Simprints is a nonprofit startup set on changing this staggering statistic. They developed a simple but brilliant technology, a portable biometric scanning device that empowers community workers to digitally link a person's fingerprints to their records, which can help the most disadvantaged people in the world's harshest settings to get the services they need. Designed specifically for the scarred fingerprints of the poorest populations, the hardware is 5 times cheaper and 228% more accurate than existing mobile scanners used in the same settings. But technology is only as powerful as the human experience that surrounds it. To create the ideal experience around an ID scanner and mobile app, Simprints partnered with inclusive design experts at Smart Design, resulting in the first fingerprint identification system to be created specifically for and by frontline workers. The end product forges over 300 hours of user-centered design and co-creation into a seamless biometric workflow. Every feature has been designed with users to meet their needs. Testing across 3 continents and 6 countries has shown that frontline workers can learn how to use Simprints with less than 30 minutes of training. To design a better experience, Smart identified a variety of hero moments in users' journeys and created storyboards to illustrate the needs of both the people and the community workers, from the time a record is created for a person through to the successful subsequent identification of that person. It's all achieved in 4 easy steps. A simple user interface guides data collection, a process that can be seamlessly integrated into any existing workflow and application, such as those of Simprints NGO partners. The frontline worker places a beneficiary's finger on the scanner, which is rugged, waterproof, and mobile, built for the toughest conditions on the front lines. The system runs a matching algorithm either offline or online. This offers rapid matching that reduces errors and improves accuracy, compliance, and quality. The system returns a unique ID that links to digital records and next steps and services. The fingerprint serves as a globally unique and secure ID that cannot be forgotten or lost. Simprints and Smart Design remain focused on delivering impact at the last mile, the front line. By maintaining a running dialogue with local communities and user champions, the experience is continually optimized via ongoing feedback loops and co-creation efforts. These local ambassadors also receive design research training, guaranteeing that the solution can continue to scale as Simprints invests in new regions. Pilots of the award-winning initiative are underway, having reached over 50,000 people in 2016, with plans to affect more than 4.8 million people over the next 3 years. Armed with new methodologies and tools, Simprints is now empowered to solve numerous global social challenges through the power of design. This will not only save lives, but is helping researchers, NGOs, and governments in the fight against poverty.
So congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And I believe that Itai might have a few comments for you and maybe a question.
Sure. Wow, this was a phenomenal entry, seriously. From the process to the amount of attention to details to the subject matter, the fit of technology to a solution, and the impact you guys are on the world, it was just amazing. But really, at least for me, and I think a lot of the judges agreed, the fact that you put in more effort to democratize the solution and train more people in UX research, just that made it even more effective and make sure that it continues to grow. That was really inspirational. So thank you for that. The question I think I had was, what are some of the effects that you saw when you started training more of the previously known as users, as also advocates and designers? What were some of the effects?
I think the effects were infection, and I mean that in the best possible way. People realized that they could be part of the process, and we talk about, iterating and prototyping, but this was true co-creation, at its purest form. And I think because the healthcare workers were, they want to provide the best service that they can and for the recipients, it just enabled us to build upon that. So they're rolling it out across several different types of situations, across several different types of NGOs in the future. So that'll be great.
Great. And Kelly, would you like to comment on the judging?
I couldn't comment on it, just like you. But I'm happy we won, because it's pretty awesome.
Thanks very much.
So next up, we've got Google Earth VR for the most immersive VR experience. So come on up.
The world has so many beautiful and amazing places to visit, but even the most active travelers can only see a fraction. What if we could see them all? In 2016, we launched Google Earth VR, the first and only virtual reality application that lets you freely explore the world right where you're standing. Google has spent years mapping the Earth for desktop and mobile, but those platforms didn't give you a sense of scale or the feeling of actually being there the way that virtual reality does. We wanted to take the best imagery that Google had to offer and create a VR application that enabled people to relive their memories, discover new places, and experience the world from impossible perspectives. Designing for VR was unique. We were dealing with new controllers and display technologies where common design patterns didn't exist. VR also requires a deep understanding of ergonomics, human physiology, and perception to create a comfortable yet convincing experience. The enormous scale of the Google Earth dataset also meant that we had to design solutions that would work in cities and in space. By brainstorming and prototyping solutions alongside engineers and evaluating them with think aloud usability studies and cognitive walkthroughs, we were able to balance usability, delight, and performance.
Tokyo, look at this!
At the time of launch, nearly all VR applications used teleportation to move players around the virtual world. The problem with teleportation is that our study participants often lost their bearings due to the sudden context change. We introduced flying and dragging, but many participants experienced a fear of heights when high above ground, and some became nauseous. To reduce their fear of heights, we dynamically scaled players to keep their feet planted on the ground regardless of elevation. When we moved players in VR while they were physically standing still, the conflicting information caused many people to experience a form of nausea called simulator sickness. To manage the disparity between the real and virtual world, we created something called tunnel vision, which provides visual anchors to the real world and blurs motion in your peripheral vision. We also ran several ergonomic studies to determine the best angular size and placement of UI to maintain legibility and make elements easy to hit with the laser. Finally, we amplified immersion by adding physics, subtle haptic feedback, and a rich spatialized soundscape that includes chirping birds and adaptive music. Since launch, Earth VR has been downloaded over 370,000 times on Steam and is ranked the second most downloaded VR app on the platform. The community response has been overwhelmingly positive. We've also been named the best HTC Vive experience at the 2016 Vivies, have won the 2017 Lumiere Century Award for Environmental Awareness and the 2017 Cannes Lion for Innovation. By tackling some of the toughest foundational UX problems, such as movement and simulation sickness in VR, Google Earth VR has paved the way for other VR experiences to move and explore in virtual spaces, and we're only beginning to scratch the surface.
Congratulations. This is an amazing project. I think Sky might have some comments.
I'm a huge VR advocate. One thing that I really love about Google Earth is it's platform independent now, so anybody can use that. And VR is still a really difficult concept for people to understand what true immersive content is. So my question is around that. Do you think we're at the point where we have enough words or rectilinear kind of video to explain what that immersive experience is, or how long do we have to go to get there?
I think the only way around it is just people have to try this. Like, even while we were designing it, we would think oh, I know what that's going to be like. This thing's going to come up, and we're going to click on it, and we'd get in there, and it would be like, oh my gosh, that feels so weird and wrong, and like, so just the point is, it's like even being an expert, after years, it's still new, and you don't have words to describe how awkward something can be or how amazing something can be. So I think that's a cool thing about it, right? It's like something you have to go try. You can't just like click on a video and click like and then move on, you know.
Congratulations. Make sure to get your champagne. And chocolates. That's right. Yes. And so, for the final gold, this goes to Reimagining Atomic Force Microscopy for the most impressive redesign of complex software from Infragistics.
I'm Kevin Richardson, Director of User Experience at Infragistics. My colleague Ken Eisenhuth and I were asked by Keysight Technologies, one of the world's leading electronic measurement companies, to redesign the software that controls their line of atomic force microscopes. Originally created for the scientific community, the application had a very steep learning curve that took years to master. Part of the problem was that the application presented all of the microscope's functionality all of the time to all of the users. In addition, the application was designed around the standard multi-window Microsoft desktop design language, meaning that completing a single task meant having a lot of open remain hidden in as a result. 0% of new users were able to successfully use the application. Novice users, experienced users require years of training from 0% powerful function.
Okay, I don't know what happened there. I'm sorry about that. Try it again, but
I'm Kevin Richardson, Director of User Experience at Infragistics. My colleague Ken Eisenhuth and I were asked by Keysight Technologies, one of the world's leading electronic measurement companies, to redesign the software that controls their line of atomic force microscopes. Originally created for the scientific community, the application had a very steep learning curve that took years to master. Part of the problem was that the application presented all of the microscope's functionality all of the time to all of the users. In addition, the application was designed around the standard multi-window Microsoft.
I'm so sorry about that. Well, it was a great project anyway. And I think Alan might have a few comments.
So, Kevin Richardson, if that is your real name. We were talking a while ago. I really like this. I really like the problem, and I really like the solution. I have to say that this kind of a problem is right in the wheelhouse of Cooper, my former company, and we loved when clients would bring us stuff like this that was just like you go, where do I start? It's just this incredible complexity. You know, it's all these PhD scientists who learned Fortran as undergrads, and then what they do is they inflict that on the world, and you get every single function in hundreds of overlapping windows, and it's this nightmare. But they're going. Well, you need all of that stuff, and so you have to slash and burn through the complexity. So you clearly have done so. You've radically eased the user's journey. You've turned those year-long training ordeals into hours-long ones, and you've turned the hours-long introductory ones into instantaneous. And I think the thing about complex stuff is you can make the complicated stuff easy by throwing away the functionality. Okay, the hard part is to make it easy, but not throw away the power. And I think you've done that here. And I guess my question is, how did you overcome the reluctance of the scientists, of the PhDs?
That wasn't easy. Even though they did hire us so that we had cognitive dissonance on our side, right? They have to be good because we're giving them money. We wouldn't have given them money if they weren't good. Some people thought that, some people did not, and it took the first several days of them explaining and me explaining back what I heard and what I thought it could be for them to realize, oh, wait, maybe they have something. And then kind of when they saw the first set of prototypes and then certainly the final comps, they realized, wow, this is going to be something that we can use and sell.
No, that's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
So congratulations on your win.
Thank you very much.
Feel free to get some champagne.